every day I do this one single repetitive task and it makes me $374 per day. And I do this one thing over and over and over and over again. And it's just literally simply clicking a button on my computer hundreds of times. And by doing this, I'm able to earn more than most doctors and lawyers as a kid in his 20s with no college degree. So what is this repetitive task, and how can you do the same thing for yourself to make a ridiculous income just working from home? So let's break down what I actually do on a day-to-day basis. So I sell life insurance working from home, and basically what I do is I call people up and respond to a request that they send in asking for more information to see if they are eligible to purchase a policy. And it's super simple because I just have to ask them a few questions and take them through a short interview to see basically like what their problem actually is that I'm solving and whether or not they even qualify for the program. And so what I do is I just click this button over and over and over again until somebody picks up. I go through the short little interview that's written down on a piece of paper. I just have to follow like a script more or less. And when they give me the right answers, then they're able to purchase the life insurance. They give me the wrong answers, they're not able to purchase life insurance, more or less, is kind of the gist. Basically, the way that I look at this is that, like, when I'm pressing this button, I'm more or less swinging an axe over and over and over again to wait and see when the tree falls. And when the tree falls, I get paid and money comes out of it. So how many phone calls do I actually make per day? Typically, I make about 300 phone calls per day, which is actually not that much. It's like less than 8 hours of work per day if you're doing this efficiently and focusing on your work and not getting up and interrupting yourself and whatnot. And so it's really not that difficult. This is a like sub 8 hour work day, as long as you're not spending too much time on the phone over telling people about your dog's favorite color or whatever. But I make about 300 phone calls per day. And you're probably wondering, like, how hard is it actually to sell life insurance? So, I mean, I will say, like, it is definitely not something it's not easy, it's hard, but it is simple. And so if you're willing to submit yourself to learning the process, the same way that you would if you went to, like, do a job where they're showing you how to do things that is a little simpler. Like, for example, it's easier to learn the mechanics of working at like a Chick-fil-A or a McDonald's or something where you do have to follow through with the same repetitive physical action every day versus like thinking about what you're going to say to people in response to what they're saying, because it requires a different skill set and a lot more effort. But ultimately, like, if you submit yourself to learning that process, it's really not that difficult. It's not easy. I'd say level of hardness, 7 out of 10. For anything, like if 1 out of 10 is like anyone can do it, 10 out of 10 is like only like the smartest people in the world could do it. I guess if on that scale, I'd probably give it a 5 out of 10. It's really not that hard. But the mentality side of it, where people are facing rejection, is usually where most people kind of fall off, if that makes sense. And so basically, like, for me on a day-to-day basis, what I do to see success in this is I wake up, I go to the gym to get my energy high, and I focus on like my own personal output. Like, I focus on my sleep a lot, and I'll talk more about that in just a minute. And then the biggest thing is my day schedule has to be extremely structured. The same way that you would clock into like a job at, let's say they tell you to be there from 8 to 5, you need to keep a strict schedule for yourself so that you don't like fall into the life of like being your own boss where you don't actually do anything because you're like hooked on freedom. Because what most people do is like they go from having a job where they're told what to do to having to tell themselves what to do, and they think that like being self-employed means not working, when the truth is like oftentimes it means working more, but that you also have the opportunity to make more. And so being structured and disciplined is massive. And for me, I wake up at the same time every day. I wake up at 5:45. I go to the gym. I come back. I eat breakfast before the meeting, and I'm on the meeting by 8 a.m. So I typically work out for about an hour, and then I eat breakfast with my wife every morning, start my morning meeting, team meeting, 45 minutes sharp. Then I get onto the phones or do whatever. I'm working in leadership now, so I have to focus a lot on leadership tasks. And I just focus on selling and helping people out. And then I have a lunch at 12, my time. I'm in the West Coast, so it's a little bit different time zone. But I eat my lunch at 12. I usually will eat for anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes, depending on like, what I'm looking for. But I have 30 minutes blocked off. Sometimes I'll use the other 10 to go walk around, get some sunlight, whatever. And then from there, I go back to my calls. And I follow the rule that I talked about in my other video that I'll actually link down below. But I work for 50 minutes at a time and then take a 10-minute break. So 50 minutes focus, 10 minutes off. And then I go and usually we'll have dinner at about 6:30. And this is to keep my energy high for my last section of dials. And then from there, that's where I go through, finish out my day, finalize my reports, and close out for the day. Typically is after that in my final dial session. Depending on if I get into a phone call, it can be anywhere from like 7 to 8:30, depending on how, if I get into a phone call or whatever, how the day is ending. That I have to be a little flexible on that just because of the nature of sales. But I go to bed at 9:45 sharp, and then I do it again. So that's my week, Monday to Friday, and then my weekends are a little bit different. But how do I do all of that and still keep high energy and still stay focused and get enjoyment out of everything? Well, I'm focused a lot on optimizing my own personal self. So one thing I've been super big on lately is optimizing my time, scheduling everything out, super rigid with that, 50 minutes on, 10 minutes off, basically trying to optimize for output where I'm getting more done in less time. And one of the ways that I've been doing that as well is focusing on my sleep. So I use the Oura Ring. It's one of the things that I use to track my sleep to see how I can get the highest quality sleep so that my charge is the most ready to go into my day. I don't want to be coming into the day dragging, exhausted, tired, or anything like that. And so if I can come into my day prepared and mentality, bulletproof, energy high, usually I'm able to get a lot of things done in a very short time by using that 50-minute rule for the 50 minutes on, 10 minutes off type of deal. And I've seen a ton of success with that. And that's one of the things that I'm also training in the team below me so that they're able to see massive success rapidly as well. Now, if you kind of want to learn more about getting started as an insurance agent, how to make this kind of money on your own, how you can kind of get a little bit more of your freedom back, have time to yourself, and also just see more structure for not only more output, but just to get more out of your day with business and your personal life, because now you have the time to devote to it. What I've found is that if you're just dragging along, if you're just working all these hours but not getting as much done, it's better to work less and do more than it is to work more and do less, which sounds stupid and sounds so super simple, but so many people do this. Everybody brags about how many hours they're working instead of what tasks they're working on or how much they're getting done in the tasks that they have actually tackled. So if you're wanting to get into the insurance business, you want to learn more about life insurance sales, you can go watch this video. It's going to be a full hour-long breakdown showing you exactly how you can get started as a life insurance and making money working full-time from home.